This weekend might be the perfect time to do your taxes. I know not super duper fun, but we are less than 2 weeks out from the federal deadline. But we want to talk about tax refund scams to be aware of. I'm joined by MSU Research Associate from the School of Criminal Justice, Taylor Fisher. Taylor, thanks so much for being here with us on Evening Plus tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So we want to start off when we hear tax return scams. You know, obviously we're talking about scams, feels like all the time these days, but specifically when it comes to tax returns, what do those look like? What do people need to be watching out for?
Yeah, so every tax season, I'm sure you notice, you start to see these signs pop up on the side of the road that say, with this key credit, you can get a huge return on your taxes. Most of the time, they are promising to you something that is not accomplishable. If they're promising a big payday or any time that you see offering services for a fee, you always want to question those opportunities because they could be scams.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were mentioning, you might see that online. As far as sort of tactics or tips to avoid those, obviously I'm sure taking a second before you're clicking on something, but any other tips to just make sure you're not falling victim there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one thing to remember is that they're using your information against you. So, general advice is to keep as much information off the internet as you can because they're using all of that to tailor their attacks to you. So, for instance, if you have an Instagram page where you're sharing pictures of your kids, scammers might take that and say, okay, this person could be targeted with a fake child deduction or something related to children. And so, just generally keeping information private can be a really beneficial way to avoid scams. But in the moment when they're happening to you, certainly take that breath that you said. Take a moment, look at where the URL is leading you to. If it's going to a website that doesn't look legitimate, don't click on it. If they're trying to tell you something over the phone that needs to happen right now, that's super urgent, then they're probably trying to use that against you. If you're taking the time to think about what you're doing and making sure that you're talking with the right people, you should be able to avoid most of these scams.
And like you were saying, those warning signs, if something looks too good to be true, unfortunately, it probably is. If something's, being advertised as, oh, super quick, super fast, that's not the way that you want to do it. As far as, avoiding these, where are places where we can find that safety and security, if people are doing those tax refunds this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing to think about is if you are weary of using online services, you can always have face-to-face tax experts help you. So, there are legitimate sources. One thing to always remember is that if you're working with somebody preparing your taxes on your behalf, they're going to have official ID numbers from the IRS. So, if you ever come in contact with somebody who's claiming to help you get your taxes prepared and sent in, and they don't have that identification number, that's usually a good sign that there's somebody trying to take advantage of that. We call them ghost preparers, where they don't technically exist in the system, but they certainly can take advantage of you not filing your tax return directly, adding in information or misinformation that can get you in trouble on the back end.
And I'm sure, people who are legit, who do have that ID with the IRS, they, if you wanted to ask them for that or to see, to learn more information, they would be very forthcoming if they are in fact legit. The opposite, though, if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody's asking you to file a return without your final signature or without certain information being included, that's usually a pretty good sign that they're going to alter it in some way on the back end. So if you ever ask for a number and they refuse to provide it, or you find you have documents that are missing that information, it's a good sign that you probably engaged with somebody that was taking advantage of you. So go ahead and put that freeze on your credit. Talk to your bank account, your credit card accounts, and make sure that all of your assets are protected.
And not to scare people at home, but ultimately, can you walk us through what these scammers are after, if they are trying to pull you in, to doing a refund with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So what they're trying to do is take advantage of an opportunity to get some money out of the situation. So what they're likely going to do is route that refund through their own bank account, take their piece off the top, and then send you maybe partial amounts or maybe none at all. So that's always one possibility. It's also possible that they're trying to get you to engage in just providing misinformation, which can then get you in trouble. It's not always about what they can gain from it, but sometimes just putting you in an environment where you are now at risk. And that means that building new credit, building new accounts is much harder and much more difficult.
Yeah, this is certainly something to take very seriously because you don't want to lose money and you certainly don't want to, get in trouble for something that wasn't even your own doing. Always have to be so protective with our information. Anything else for people at home, filing their taxes this weekend to keep in mind from your point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to remember is that the IRS has a wonderful set of resources. If you have any questions about how to get your taxes done, who to trust, how to find a preparer, all that information can be found on the IRS's webpage. They provide resources so that you not only can avoid getting in contact with an impersonator, but also reporting impersonators. So if you find that you've engaged with somebody who you don't think is legitimate, you're not sure about, you can always contact the IRS and say, hey, I had this person, this is the number they gave me, or maybe they didn't provide a number. And reporting that can be very beneficial for the larger investigation purposes as well.
Absolutely. Okay, Taylor Fisher with the MSU School of Criminal Justice. Thank you so much. Some really valuable information, especially as that deadline encroaches on us for tax day. Thanks so much for joining us here on Evening Plus.
Thank you so much.